So, look, I mean, when you break it down, we as a country have got to be about figuring out how we're creating jobs now, how we're creating jobs for the future. 9% unemployment is better than 9.8, but it's not very good. In fact, it's higher than I'd ever hoped to see in our lifetime. I thought the economy John Podesta and I and President Clinton inherited in '93 seemed pretty bad, and the fiscal situation seemed pretty bad. We thought we had been dealt a bad hand. That pair of twos now feels like a royal flush compared to what President Obama inherited in terms of $1 trillion deficit and one of the deepest holes in the labor market that our country has had to face since the Great Depression. But we are determined to fight our way out, to not be satisfied until we are fully back out. It is hard after a financial crisis in any country, anywhere in the world, when you have a financial crisis like that. It is hard to get the fast rebound you so desperately want because the country still stays a bit too much in debt, and it comes back a little slower, and that's painful. That's very painful for Americans, but I do believe our country is starting to move in the right direction. The fact that, for example, we had 49,000 manufacturing jobs last month. We had 152,000 gain in manufacturing jobs over the last 12 months. That's not good enough, but that is the best 12-month performance of increasing manufacturing jobs since 97 to 98. So there are signs that momentum is gaining, but don't think for a second that we will be satisfied until we see the economy growing enough to start creating enough jobs so that we really start to remedy the deep labor illness that this president inherited. Now, one good thing I will say is that when we had the chance in December to do something on the tax side, we were able to have a bigger effect on the economy than most people expected by telling companies that they can expense 100% of anything they invest in capital, equipment, manufacturing equipment in the United States in 2011. I think there's no question we will help accelerate investment by making sure every family gets an additional tax relief in 2011. I think we will increase demand, and I think we were way above what anybody could have ever expected in getting another 13 months of UI at 99 weeks. I think that is the right thing for struggling families, people struggling to get to work, but together, those things are going to have an impact on the economy. And for example, John Podesta, Center for American Progress, estimated that we could see, over 1.5 million new jobs because of those measures together. And in fact, really across the board, almost every forecaster projected jobs and growth would be up significantly. So again, not good enough, but another step. And so going forward, we have to keep that focus on what can we be doing immediately. What can we be doing, as the president says, to win the future, to make sure we're competing for the high value-added jobs, the manufacturing jobs, the high-paid jobs of the future. And we need to do both at the same time. And I guess if I had one message, it's that green jobs are where the nexus between the jobs now and the jobs of the future come together. The ideal thing you want is to see America creating jobs now in things that matter to our long-term economic and environmental and energy security goals. And so when we not only do measures, but we make signals to the market that this is the place to invest now, we are creating the jobs now, to start keep digging ourselves out of our hole, and we are at the same time making perhaps the most critical investment we can in the type of high-wage future, in the type of winning the future vision the president has of out-educating, out-manufacturing, out-innovating our competitors around the world. We are also very happy that we were able to extend the 1603 Renewable Energy Grant Program in December, and this program's already helped more than 4,000 clean energy projects, and I hope you'll think we have some more good news when you see our budget come out. You know that the Recovery Act obviously had a major focus on green jobs. Our Council of Economic Advisors estimates that in the entire impact of the Recovery Act will be as much as 800,000 green jobs. But I really also want to say how much, as we go forward, when the president talks about innovation, I hope you're hearing how much of that innovation agenda does fall in the green jobs area. I mean, we've got a tough fiscal situation we're coming into, and there are some in our country who are going to think the way you deal with that is you just simply cut spending as deep as you can across the board. You don't make the judgments about what is actually necessary for economic growth and what we can potentially live without. The president said in the State of the Union to try to reducing the deficit by cutting back on education and innovation is like an airplane trying to lighten its load by getting rid of the engine. And so for us, it is going to be a very tough budget. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It is a 5-year discretionary freeze on non-security items. And over 5 years, having no inflation adjustment is going to put a lot of pressure. But it also shows what the values and priorities of the president are. The things that you will see that are being increased, where we're investing more, shows, one, that the president is putting forward an economic vision in which fiscal discipline is a key component, but so is the investments in the innovation and education and the green jobs of the future. So even in this very tough budget, where so many things will be frozen or cut, you saw the president speak in the State of the Union, and you'll see more details of a very significant increase in research for clean energy technology. That will be at $8 billion. So while that's up 33%, that's up $2 billion in a year, in a budget in which the entire budget is frozen, most things are being cut, clean energy technology, R&D ends up being one of the top strategic focuses of this president. And one of the points we are all going to have to make is not that we don't need to do anything to bring our deficit down, because we do, but that we have to choose wisely so that it is part of an overall economic growth plan for the future, and why investing in clean energy, why investing in clean energy technology, why staying on, taking some of the things that were in the Recovery Act that have been successful, like the energy innovation hubs, like the ARPA-E, doubling those, increasing those are part of a smart strategy. And I'm not going to lie, we're going to have to fight for them. We are going to have to fight for the investments that matter, and we're going to have to make the case why, even in a tight budget, as the president suggested, they are absolutely essential to winning the economic future. I do get teased internally for at times that when I give my views, was I just representing the state of Michigan when I spoke? And I promise I represent the whole country, but I'm not going to pretend that growing up in Michigan and having my family there, my brother in Detroit, does not give me an understanding of what manufacturing, of what the auto industry means to our country, what the ripple effect, positive or negative, on innovation, on suppliers, on small business means. So I am very happy to see the President's commitment to the American automobile industry, but not only to the American automobile industry, but to an American automobile industry that focuses on a low-carbon future, on clean energy means, and I'm very happy to see that that's where our focus is, and that that's continuing. And you saw that the President again stressed that he wanted us to be the first nation in the world with 1 million advanced technology vehicles on the road by 2015. That will make electric vehicles more affordable with an improved $7,500 rebate. We'll enhance battery R&D, and we're going to reward communities that invest in electric vehicle infrastructure with competitive grants. I think of this as the field of dreams approach. We want to see, we want the country to see examples of specific communities building the kind of infrastructure and that allows for people to see an electric vehicle future or a far more energy efficient future. And we believe through this competitive grant program that if we can see it work in some places, people will find it irresistible to invest in that type of energy future everywhere. We're seeing the impact already. 2 years ago, the United States produced roughly 2% of the batteries that go into hybrid and electric cars. 5 years from now, we expect the U.S. will account for 40% of global capacity. Companies such as Enerdell and Johnson Controls are building or expanding manufacturing facilities in Michigan and Indiana with awards from the $2.4 billion Advanced Battery Manufacturing Grant Program in the Recovery Act. And again, these are the types of things that the President has specified as important to winning our economic future, and that, again, we can't just be satisfied that it's in the President's budget. We have to fight to make it a reality going forward. You also saw that the President put forward an ambitious national clean energy standard to double the share of electricity generated from clean energy from 40% to 80% by 2035. This again goes to what we think is the nexus between jobs now and investing in the clean energy, green jobs of the future. You have something like the 100% expensing. That gives somebody an incentive to invest in 2011. If we signal with things like the Clean Energy Standard, a national commitment to clean energy, and you have a year where you can expense every capital investment you do 100%, that is a signal to the market to start investing now in jobs that will help us bring the unemployment rate down, create jobs, and at the same time start a more serious private sector investment in the green jobs and energy future that we would like. And obviously, the President looks at all of this in a comprehensive way. I understand the American Federation of Teachers is part of the Blue-Green Alliance, and that makes total sense because we obviously, if we want to, come up with the idea here, invent it here, make it here, we want to have the strongest civilian workforce that we can, and that's why the President calling for an effort to prepare 100,000 science, technology, engineering, and math teachers should be seen in every way possible as part of a comprehensive strategy for having the type of innovative future we want, green energy, green jobs future that we want. You will also see that this week is what we call Build Week. You will see announcements this week on our infrastructure agenda. We believe this is another key way to create green jobs right now, investing in our long-term future. You'll hear us talking about the National Wireless Initiative, about a high-speed rail. You'll see in our budget our full proposal going forward on infrastructure. So again, even though this is a tough budget even though we have to start on the process of bringing our deficit down to fiscal sustainability, we at the same time have to choose wisely to keep investing in jobs now and the jobs of the future. One of the things the President also announced recently was his focus on better buildings, on reaching a goal of 20% increased efficiency in commercial buildings by 2020. He put forward that challenge. You'll be seeing the details on the improved tax incentive to encourage that, on the competitive grant program that we announced, on expanded loan program. More of that will come out in our budget next Monday. But one thing the President also made clear was he challenged to make this a national challenge, and he asked specifically for his new Jobs Council, which is headed by Jeff Immelt, to work together with former President Bill Clinton, someone I think I know, many of you know, to really lead this kind of national effort. And I really would very much like to figure out how that effort and this effort can work together to try to make that call to action a reality. I will let you go. You've had Lisa Jackson speak. For those of you who know Heather Zeichel, it is her birthday too. So I don't know what in the leading female green job, atmosphere has led both of them to have the exact same birthday. But it must mean something, and that it comes on this particular day. But I know you've heard from her. I won't go on more. I know you've got John Podesta and others coming. But I just, again, want to stress that what you heard in the State of the Union from this president is a commitment to win the future. It is a commitment to investing not just in the jobs now, though that's critical, but the high-wage jobs of the future. When you look at our national priorities in terms of innovation, in terms of competitiveness, in terms of jobs that stay in the United States and help our workers able to have the type of security we need so that our country stays what it is, stays with the commitment it has been based on since the beginning, which is that we have a growing middle class, that growing middle class makes room for anybody who's willing to work hard enough to move into it without pushing anybody else out. That it is a growing middle class that allows people to still believe that their children will be better off. And that comes not from just what your overall GDP growth is. It doesn't come from your overall income growth. It doesn't come from having an economy where the wealth and gains happen just to the top 1%. It comes from an economy that invests in the future, that creates the good jobs, that leads to the growing middle class so that our prosperity is shared and the values that have been with this country since Ben Franklin are transported into the next generation, a growing middle class where anyone who works hard enough can live the American dream. I thank all of you for your leadership, and we look forward to being your partner.
Good job.
Thank you.